Hi guys, my name is Kwao. I'm from New York, and today we're going to be talking about the pronunciation of the letter R. The letter R is pronounced very differently in English and in Portuguese. I understand Spanish and just a tiny bit of Portuguese, so I know that sometimes this is a very common problem for a lot of students. The R in Portuguese is pronounced something like an H in English, like ha, reais, Rio, Roberto, right? But in English, it's completely different. So check this out. We say R, R. We can use it in words like word, work, risk, rack, truck, all right? And there is a very, very, very specific way of pronouncing this letter. The main thing we have to be conscious of when pronouncing the R is the position of our tongue. Now, for many different letters and many different sounds, the most important thing is how we move our mouth. So we shouldn't be focused exactly on the sound right now. We have to be focused on how our tongue moves. Now, think of the L, like lucky or like. When we say the L, the tongue goes forward and it curves with our teeth. La, la, la. You can try this. La, la, la. And you should feel your tongue moving forward. La, la, la. Almost as if you're trying to have it escape, but your teeth is stopping that, right? Now, I say this because it's very easy to visualize, and the R is the opposite. So in the L, our tongue goes forward, la, la, la. Sometimes it even comes out a little bit, and you can see it if you're in a mirror or with another person, la. With the R, it's the opposite. It goes completely back. It's this same sort of curve, but it goes back. The more you curve it back, the more it sounds like an English R, the more of an American accent you can sort of hear. Try to curve it way back, almost as if you're swallowing it. Almost as if it's going into your throat. It's curved up and back, like a little hook, like this. And there you have it. With this position of the tongue, you should be able to make sound that sounds like er, er. As you can see, it's not like in Spanish, in Turkish, or in Russian where it vibrates like rrr. It doesn't go forward, it goes back. And it shouldn't move. It's a consistent sound. Er. Now, we're going to try some words like risk, risk. Right. The tongue goes back, you open up your mouth, re, and then you close up, risk. Right? So that's for the beginning of words. R's normally don't change so much in sound, whether they're in the beginning, the middle, or the end. The sound is the same, so the position is the same. We just have to be very careful to not get confused with other letters. So that's a very common misconception. People think the sound is different, but it's not. It's the same. It's just a little bit harder to put the tongue in the right place if it's in the middle of a word or at the end of a word. But it's basically the same position. For example, let's think of respect. Starts with R. It's very easy. Respect. Respect. But let's try to think of in the middle. Disorder. It's not a different sound. It just has other sounds next to it. Dis or der. Dis or der. So when we have order, our mouth open, or, then our tongue comes in, or, and then from there, the tongue changes again and it shoots in the front, duh, order, right? So this is a very, very common thing, guys. Don't think that the R has different sounds and it's super complicated. The only complicated thing is the position. It's a funny little position and it can be kind of tricky to memorize and to do. But once you get it, you just have to put that same position wherever you see an R, okay? And of course, avoid that really, really common habit of saying the Portuguese R. Remember, it's not reais, it would be real, for example. Uh, these are some examples for words with R. Now remember, the most important thing about these words is having your tongue in the same position. Think of restaurant. Curves back, and then we have est, rest. A very, very common thing, a very common strategy for learning pronunciation and reading in general is something we say in English speaking schools, sound it out. We divide the word into separate sounds. Restaurant. You don't have to say it all together, and it makes it a lot easier to remember where your tongue should be, the position of the tongue. So in, restaurant, restaurant, restaurant. Okay. Now, keeping this in mind, there are some words that are very, very difficult, like horror, rural, trouble. This is because there are other sounds that are very, very, very near. For example, her, horror, horror. In these cases, your mouth just needs to open up a little bit, as if you're saying a little mini O, horror, without pronouncing it completely, and then it goes back in. Horror, terror, murder, right? And then, of course, we have very, very, very common words like rain, run, river, rose, rock. These are very, very typical words that, if you change the sound, can sound a little bit confusing. If you say hain, hiver, hocket, so it should be rose, not hose. Hose is an instrument to give water to plants. So instead of hose, we say rose, the red flower. Rose, rose, rose. Rain, rain, rain. River, river, river. Restaurant, restaurant, restaurant.
You can. You can beli.